football game last night. I won't spend too much time on it, but it is the best team right now in the world, the Kansas City Chiefs, who had kind of a B- C+ performance, first 2 possessions, 2 interceptions. They're still finding their way. Here's the scary thing, though. 5 weeks ago, we were saying, what does Kansas City do well? I'm watching last night against the Commanders in a blowout win, and I'm thinking, what don't they do well? They have more 30-point games and double-digit wins right now than all of last year, and we're at the halfway point. So they haven't been this deep offensively since 2022. 400 yards 3 times in the last month. Rashee Rice is clearly a number 1. Xavier Worthy, clever number 2. Juju Smith-Schuster, a perfect number 3. And Travis Kelce's not done. They have not punted in the first half of their last 3 games. Their defense is number 2 in the league. So, and the scary thing is they're missing 2 offensive linemen. So they're not quite right yet. They're just not quite buttoned up on the front. But I said this 2 weeks ago. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. I think Kansas City is a touchdown better than the second best team in the league. And I still think this morning they're finding their way.
But then Colin also said about 4 weeks ago that the Kansas City Chiefs aren't good. And then he said 5 weeks ago that the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl window is closed. And 6 weeks ago he said, man, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, it's done. It's not working. So yeah, again, you know what? Call me what you will, but you got to call me consistent. A game like this, again, just tells me so little. And I know it annoyed Chiefs fans last week when I said it. Going up, the Kansas City Chiefs beating a backup quarterback, a team that is reeling, is just never going to be impressive to me when you're the Kansas City Chiefs, when you're Patrick Mahomes, when you're Andy, when you're Spags. Yeah, they had 2 interceptions. The one was definitely fluky. The other one, you know, you could say it was all Mahomes. You could say it was a great play. You know, depends on which lens you want to look at it. I mean, there was 2, both teams had a fluky interception that it just went off the receiver's hands, popped in the air, and then was intercepted. But I mean, listen, the Commanders are struggling mightily. Okay, we can talk about Marcus Mariota all we want. He's a backup quarterback for a reason. And you know, the reality is this Commanders defense has not been good at all either. You know, they gave up 27 points to the Packers, 24 to the Raiders, 34 to the Falcons. They gave up 25 to the Bears, 44 to the Dallas Cowboys, and now obviously 28 to the Kansas City Chiefs. So, you know, I think the best thing that the Chiefs have going for them right now is really who they get to play. To me, the Chiefs are clearly a top team in the NFL. No doubt about it. I've been saying that not just since the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks like some people. I've been saying it since day one when they were winless, and I will keep saying that. The Buffalo Bills going to be a fascinating matchup. But to be honest, it's more about who is Buffalo, because I have way more confidence and confirmation how great the Kansas City Chiefs are, and I don't have any of that about the Buffalo Bills. So that's what's so fascinating. Because if the Buffalo Bills beat the Kansas City Chiefs or make it just a tough game, right? It's just one of those close games. I'd be like, okay, that tells me that the Buffalo Bills aren't as bad or as struggling as maybe me or other people think they are. And if the Kansas City Chiefs beat them and beat them good, again, to me, it's not necessarily about how great the Kansas City Chiefs are. It's about Buffalo Bills. They're in trouble. Like they're struggling. They are struggling. You're losing. You blew out the Panthers. Congrats, right? But now you're losing to the Falcons. You're losing to the Patriots. You're losing to the Chiefs. Like you can no longer hang right now. And if that ends up being the case, it's like, all right, who's next on deck, right? Who can then make things trouble for the Chiefs? And it's like, okay, the Broncos. Let's see about that. And then the Broncos are in a similar situation because again, the Chiefs are always going to be the barometer And it's just like if the Broncos can't hang with the Chiefs, again, it says a lot about the Broncos. And now the Colts are going to be really fascinating because the Colts have obviously been great all season long. And it's like, are the Colts for real? Can they actually hang? The Cowboys, no. Texans, I guess we can take a look at the Chiefs offense versus the Texans defense to see how strong the Chiefs offense is looking at that point. But I don't know, by December, who really knows how much juice that defense will have left, especially if that offense is not really carrying their weight. And then you got the Chargers and the Broncos. And that's it, right? That's a lot of wins. And you're even going up against teams that we think are either were great in the past or are going to be great. Like, still kind of, in my viewpoint, more question marks around them rather than the Chiefs. I think there's more questions about the Colts, the Broncos, and the Bills than the Chiefs themselves. So those are the teams that kind of have to prove their worth more than anything to me. And so it's a great spot for them to be in, because even if they just lose another, I don't know, let's just say they lose one more game, they're still ripping off a ton of wins, and it'll be interesting to then see where you're at with that. The Chiefs lose just one more game. Let's just even give them a worst case scenario, 2 more games. Which again, it's, it'd be on the more surprising side, honestly. I mean, it all depends on how the games like the Broncos and the Bills and the Colts look, and the other game with the Chargers. It's on the table, obviously. It's not like out of the realm of the possibility. It's not like they're playing nothing but the Tennessee, Titans, Jets, in Miami or something. But I think probably conservatively, you'll say they'll lose 1 or 2 games. That would put them at 5 losses or 4 losses, depending on where we want to put it. It's just, these are the teams ahead of them, and then these are the teams behind them. Do you think the Texans are going to come back? Do you think the Jags are going to be able to continue to win? Like, you'd still love the Chiefs here. And I guess, like, my point is like, the reason why I'm bringing this up specifically is because you imagine the Patriots and the Colts should be able to continue to handle themselves, and the Broncos as well, to a degree, even though they've had a little bit of an inconsistent season so far in terms of at least their offensive production. But now they're having some injuries on defense, and now they're going to go up against Kansas City Chiefs. If there's just a way for the Chargers and the Broncos to still maintain that lead over the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are now still needing a wild card spot, that'll be interesting. Again, it's only a game behind the Broncos, obviously, right now. But it's just, if they can maintain that, and now you're looking at the wild card, the only team that you're really realistically going up against is the Jags. Yeah, the Ravens can make a little bit of a run. I mean, they got to rip off win after win after win after win, and then it still has the Chiefs in the driver's seat, and the Bengals. Like, it would really only come into play, I feel like, if the Chiefs drop 2 games, and if they drop 3, then you're in a serious concern of potentially those other teams. But, like, you need these other teams to essentially be flawless now. The Bengals definitely messed up their kind of chance at some of that momentum. I don't know if the Texans are going to magically start to get things going now. Find that hard to believe. And the Jags have just been so inconsistent. But the Jags do, I guess, have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs. So, like, that could come into play. But again, still winning the division is still completely on the table, because you got the Chargers 5-3, the Chiefs are 5-3, and the Broncos are 6-2. And you still have 2 games against the Chiefs for the Broncos and 1 game against the Chargers. So that's 3 games right there. So, I think if you're the Chiefs, you should be feeling pretty good right now about, at least your ability to get into the playoffs if you can't catch the Broncos or you can't catch the Chargers, so to speak. But that's still obviously well on the table. The big thing is pulling off some, at least at a minimum, and I know the Chiefs believe that they can just beat the Broncos both times, but at least at a minimum, split with the Broncos, get that game against the Chargers, and then, it leaves you room to either lose a random game down the line, lose a game to the Colts. But yeah, it'll be interesting. That to me is where the Chiefs' schedule is really all going to make the most amount of sense. The Broncos, the Colts, and the Chargers. I mean that's all that matters. That's really all that matters. Nothing else. I mean, I see zero chance. Oh, and obviously the Bills. I just see no chance of them losing to the Cowboys. I really just don't see any chance of them losing to the Texans. I see no chance of them losing to the Titans. And yeah, I know it's a divisional game, blah, 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 blah. And maybe that game will matter, the final game, against the Raiders. I just see no chance. The only chances that they have of dropping some games is really 2, 3, 4, 5. So they got 5 tough games. 5 games that they can actually, that I believe that they genuinely can lose. Not that they will lose. Not that they will lose, but that it's actually on the table. So that's why, when they beat the Commanders, when they beat the Raiders, it just doesn't matter to me. And any of these other past games are too far in the past. This team is obviously different now than what they were. So it doesn't matter that they lost to the Chargers in the past. It doesn't matter that they lost to the Eagles. That none of that matters to me. So next up is the Bills. That's going to be a fascinating game. But I still am a firm believer that it's still more about, well, how good are the Bills this year? Even though the Bills have a better record and whatnot, it's just like you wouldn't say that the Bills have been playing better football than the Kansas City Chiefs over these last 3-4 weeks or so. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's also a lot of it is also on the Chargers and the Broncos. Are they for real, or are they just, feisty? Are they a great team, or are they just feisty? But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Kansas City Chiefs win? According to Colin, it was like a C-B game against the Commanders. I don't know if you could say that just because of those turnovers, but I don't know. And a couple fumbles, but obviously recovered. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.